It's DLC time in Planet Coaster 2, and we know what that means. Going back and rebuilding everything. Hello you, welcome to Geekism. So one of the things I always like to do when there's a new DLC or update is just go through the park and see if we can reduce piece count a little or make things just look a little bit nicer by using official items that we now have that we had to make out of pieces beforehand. First of all, in the service dog relief area, we had this awesome hydrant that was from the workshop, and it really is great, but it's also about 60 pieces, and now that can be one. And in a few places around the park, I created a velvet rope stanchion using some rope and art shapes and poles, and there we have a really nice custom colorable one in the game, so it's worth going through and changing those out. Not only does it slightly help with piece count, they do just look better as well. Next up, we'll actually build something. I've been wanting to put a little food cart next to the gift shop on the way into the main area of the park for a while now. There's been some seating ready for it. Haven't quite known what to do with it, but then the update 11 that came alongside Silver Screens has 5 new awesome concession stands, one of them being popcorn, and I thought that'd be a great way to fill in the space. There's also this awesome cover for them as well, which is a little bit similar to one we also got off the workshop and edited slightly for some gelato a couple of episodes ago. Obviously this one's a little bit simpler, but I still think it really works with the style of Meanderville, and we're going to go through and add a little bit of decoration to it as well to really dial up the design of it and make it work in the space. But I really love adding these little things in and having guests use them. I think it's a really nice touch. The other thing I wanted to do with the popcorn here was use the new mascot a little bit, because I think he looks fantastic. His name's Colonel Butterworth, I think, and I think he looks great, but I don't really see him working as an actual character in the park without it being a studios or movie themed park. So I thought we would tie him in a little bit by turning him into more of a gulpy or a Cosmic Cow and having him as a brand. So here we've come up with the brand of Matinee Popcorn. This isn't meant to be a Meanderville brand. The idea is that this is just a brand of popcorn you can get, and they are sponsoring the production of popcorn within the park of Meanderville. If you look at even lots of bigger parks, they will often have these sort of tie-ins. For instance, you'll see McDonald's fries sold around Disney World and things like that. So the idea here is that Matinee Popcorn has an exclusive rights deal with Meanderville to provide the popcorn for the park, and you'll see it pop up around. I think it's a nice way to kind of bring in some more fun character stuff that doesn't have to necessarily tie into the themes of the park. They almost look a little out of place, and that's kind of the idea I'm going for there. It's that sort of juxtaposition of the brand having to have its recognizable information there, but also tying it in to the space. I think that's a fun sort of problem to try and solve for real life theme parks, and one I want to try and solve, even though I'm creating it for myself here in Meanderville. Once we got the popcorn stand outside, I really loved the logo that I'd done there, using basically all the new parts from the Silver Screens pack, and I had a corner in the candy store that wasn't really doing much, so I decided to make that into a bit of an Instagram moment with some of the popcorn products available, including that awesome new plush that we got as well. And I think this is a nice way of bringing in the new character without him just being wandering around the park and not really making any sense. Alright then, next up I wanted to go through and add some of these new wait time screens that came with the update as well. We have been doing these sort of fake, basically, using billboards and just making my own images, but I love the idea of these ones updating actually with the park file, and the numbers getting bigger the more guests that arrive. And also I'm just a big fan of just playing around with new stuff and kind of supporting the devs as well. Like, you know, they've took the time to add this in, so I shouldn't really be using fake ones. I should try and make the real ones work. The only real issue I have with them is that the times are always like 7 minutes or 13 minutes, and they would probably in real life just round them up or down to the nearest 5. That would be neat, but also the even the busiest rides in this park have like a 70-minute wait or something like that, so you know, it wouldn't necessarily work out. I've made one here that is tied into the ride information screen for the carousel, which is something I haven't done yet, so added that one in, and then also went round and added these wait times and ride information signs for other rides as well. Here you can see the Balloon Tours one, Then we added the numbers in to Maelstrom. I was already happy with the screens we had there, so I basically just covered them up with the in-game ones, and we also did the same with Astralore, although for some reason it just doesn't work with this ride. I don't know if it's because it's an Omnimover and therefore it's calculated differently, but yeah, right now that seems like a bit of a bug. Okay, let's get on with a proper build. For a long time I've been saying that I would like to add a cinema to the front of the main street area here, and I was just going to throw a flat ride in there to get guests to go in and out, but then the silver screen pack came along with an actual cinema, and I thought, well, there we go, perfect, a great reason to add this in and try and have a play around with the scenery. I've said this a lot of times in the past, I do just like playing with the new stuff. I never really necessarily want to just make a one-off build and keep it separate though, so if I can integrate it into a larger park series, I'm going to. And I think that the Art Deco style of the pack here is going to work quite well with the more sort of Art Nouveau theme we have in the area. It's going to take a little while to really tie it in. I'm going to start by doing this sort of pretty much straight up Art Deco. We'll see how we get on. Unfortunately, because I've been away from the game for a couple of weeks due to vacation and playing around with new stuff, I didn't feel like this was right for a time lapse, because I was just really getting lost in the pieces, spending ages trying to find stuff that worked, getting rid of things, putting them back again. So we're going to do a couple of little looks as this build develops. So here is the first one. It probably doesn't look like much, but honestly this really did take a while. And yeah, we're mostly working on the frontage right now. I'm going to shift it up now and work on the interior, because I always do interiors first. We're a little close to the edge of Astralore, both there and there, but I'm okay with that. I'm more than happy for this to eventually just fill in. We'll pull down the here it is, the ceiling, and put it back on eventually. But yeah, let's take a look. So really wanted to use some of the Art Deco stuff, and I think this tile is beautiful. I love all the gold pieces, and I'm really happy with basically all of this. The only thing I'm not too happy about is it doesn't necessarily tie into, like I say, the more Art Nouveau style of the rest of the space that has a little bit more sort of filigree, a little bit more sort of twisty round bits, a little bit more sort of classic Parisian style to it. And at the moment, I don't think this necessarily has that. So I'm going to be spending a bit of time sort of bringing that in a little bit. I don't know whether or not this piece here is just a little too modern for it to work here, and I might well be looking at maybe changing this out and doing something a little bit more custom, which is a shame, because I think it's a great piece, and it's kind of why I want to use the set, is to try out the pieces. This will all get covered up eventually. This is just to make the base of it sort of run across there. But these new column pieces, I think, are fantastic. They act as a really great way of getting some interior trim. I mean, you can even see it, look, up in the ticket booth here. We've done it to give a nice little bit of roof detailing. That would have been, a dozen, maybe a couple of dozen plaster pieces before to do something like that. In fact, we did something like that, I think, in this like this kind of thing. Use it, 1, 2, 3, 4, each side and around. So that sort of style roofing is now a lot easier to do thanks to these column pieces, nicely textured and what have you. And then this tile set is really nice as well. So this is the trim piece here on the top, that you can change one of the colors to give you a bit of detail, and then underneath is just the regular tile that goes with it. And then we have a bit of a red carpet taking us down into the cinema itself. So staff door over here. And then we've got a couple of pillars. This actually took a bit of work, so they're a lot thinner and taller than these ones, but otherwise they're all still sort of in relative scale. And the idea is that eventually whatever this wall here becomes will come down to meet this one, and then it will carry on this way into something like guest services, maybe, or maybe just a sort of fencing with some seating outside of it, because we do need to do a structure here at some point on the edge of this space that will house the parade once it's done, with the entrance of the park itself being just here to the side of it. So whilst these look a little odd now, eventually they will tie into a building, and then this will sort of sit as a bit of a recessed vibe on this building. So what we're going to do now is sort of come down and figure out what the top of this looks like. I'm thinking maybe a couple of balconies. I think it may be a larger dome in the middle. I've been looking at some Parisian cinemas, seeing if we can get some inspiration from those. But overall, I'm happy with everything apart from maybe this one big piece, which is a shame because I think it's exactly, you know, I mean, this is built to be a cinema. There is another one in the game as well. Let me show you here. If we go to scenery theme and click silver screen, and then have a look at signs. Yeah, so we also have this one, which we, you know, for the same kind of reasons, is just probably a bit too much. Which is a shame though, because it does look cool, and I think at nighttime as well, they look extra cool due to those lovely glowing lights. Look at that. So, you know, maybe there's, I do like the trim on this. Maybe there's a world where we use some of this and cover some of it. I really like this here. I think that could totally work as an Art Nouveau space. But the base of this would need covering up. This all looks way too modern with these strip lights. And we would have to repurpose the signage we've done here. So a 50-minute journey of imagination, presented in Meander Vision with Dolby Audio. This a little bit like the popcorn stuff I was talking about the other day. I think it's quite nice to bring in sort of exterior branding, whether that's real ones or ones we made up. I think it's a nice little touch, and it sort of helps the park with some realism. And I've wanted to do a spinny little globe for a while now, and I thought this was a good reason to do it. And this will be a little sort of 15-minute video about how the park was put together. You know, obviously, in a lot of other parks, this was something like in Disney, it has the Hall of Presidents, or you know, Carousel of Progress. It's kind of like that, but I feel like keeping it towards Meanderville is good. As for what's actually going to go on the screen, I have no idea right now. I don't know what that looks like. It's just a 35-hour supercut of all of these videos put together. Okay, I've had another pass at this entrance, and I'm much happier with where we're at now. We brought in some of the iron filigree from the Small Town set, so it sort of ties into some of the other work we've been doing in the area. And then using this other setup as well. I wasn't convinced when it was first put down it had all really bright colours, but once we sort of toned it down into the sort of brasses and the blues that we're using a lot in this area, I think it actually really works. Once you take the colours out of this, you actually get a bit of a steampunky look to it as well. Sorry, just had a bit of a coughing fit off camera. And I think it looks great. I think it ties into the area much better. Still not quite sure what to do about this top bit here. It is part of the piece, unfortunately, and you know, I could just rebuild all this out of pieces. You know, there's nothing here that's really beyond me, but I am trying to use the new pieces and sort of keeping an eye on piece count as well. So yeah, I think we'll do something here. Maybe I was thinking about maybe adding another one of these here. But I also kind of like the idea of having a larger one at the back as well. I'm not too sure. We'll play around with it. But before I did any more on the exterior, I wanted to lock the interior in, because that's something that you kind of get locked into once you do too much on the exterior. It gets harder to do. So we'll come back to this in a moment. Here I wanted to show you what I've started working on inside, and inside I'm going 100% Art Deco. Like, I'm not even trying to do anything other than using the scenery pieces here as they are intended, mostly because, you know, it's a new set. I like to play around with it. I like to figure out the size of them, how they fit together, how they work together, that kind of thing, and this is a good opportunity to do that. And also, once this is done, and I've showed you a few pretty shots of it at the end of this video, there's a big old roof going on top of this, and we've most likely won't come back in here again, so I didn't want to go crazy. I'll show a picture of some of the inspirations I was looking at for more of like an Art Nouveau interior, and you know how we do this. You know, this isn't happening. So we're going to go for a bit more of a standard Art Deco, because one, it is a simpler design style, and two, just the pieces from this new set are really quite fantastic. I have my issues with the studio stuff being ported over, but this new stuff is just beautiful. So using a combination of the column pieces here that all really work well together. They're so modular and awesome. I've used them all over the place. Let me show you the queue line now as well. We'll actually come in and let's do it properly. Let's not crouch, let's just go normal height. There we go. So we come in now, we actually have a queue line that's done out, and again I've just sort of really leaned into Art Deco. This has got real Terra vibes for me, which I'm absolutely loving. And again, we use those column pieces there to create these awesome vaulted roofs. A nice little corner piece there is a bit of detail. These I feel like a very classic sort of Art Deco lamp. That's actually one of the aquatic parade pieces that lights up, surrounded by the parade railings that aren't lighting up, and I think you get a real nice yeah, just like a soft glow lamp here as we come down. We put railings up to protect the tiles. I'm just really happy with all of this, and then it opens out into the theatre. Obviously this would be a door that opens and closes. That isn't something we're really able to do. I suppose there's possibly something you could do with triggering points on the flat ride, but I don't really think it's worth it. I'm happy to have it open for this, honestly. And then we come in and see these beautiful walls here, and you can sit down and watch the show. And we started working on the screen as well. It's pretty big, but you know, that's the point. It's meant to be a nice, cool, big screen to watch a show from. I'll show you this at night time as well. It looks really good at night. And of course, this is closer to what it will look like once all the roof's on as well. Maybe not quite this dark, actually, but I've got some uplighters in here, just using the strip lights. There, it gives us a nice soft glow up in these. This was actually inspired by a home cinema I found. I was just looking for Art Deco cinemas, and one popped up that's actually just in somebody's basement, but it's really quite beautiful. And I've just sort of scaled it up to this sort of size. So we're nearly there with this. I'm just going to really just box this in now at this point, do a little bit more detail around the stage itself, and then the exit path so just works its way down here. We've got to tidy up some of these exterior walls, but the path will come out, and I've spent a little bit of time tidying up here as well. So there we have a nice sort of meandering path down to the pavilion, and then back out onto Main Street. So yeah, overall happy with how this is all coming together. Now just got to sort of tie it all in and figure out what's going to happen here. This is the only bit I'm not sure about, is what does this just have the same sort of roof as here and keep it all tied together, or do we do something more of a statement piece? I'm going to have a little play around with this and see what we come up with. Keeping it tight, folks. Harmonies are pretty awesome. You join me in a beautiful morning in Meanderville as we are done with the cinema. I'm not going to say finished, because it isn't, but I am done with it for now. I'm kind of happy where it's come out. The reason we're in early morning is because this faces away from the sun. This is the only time that you can really have a good old look of it. But I'm happy with where we are at this point. It just kind of needs locking in, tidying up a little bit, but I've run out of time. Really want to get a video out within a couple of days of the DLC coming out. In case you missed the overview video, or you don't watch those scenery overview videos, basically we get a 2-week window to build this stuff from Frontier, which is very generous, and it pretty much exactly fell the 2 weeks I was on vacation. I think I had it for like half a day before I left, and a day after I got back, and then actually moved the embargo a little earlier, so we could release stuff on Monday, which is great. I actually think a content creator being allowed to release stuff a couple of days before the pack is a good bit of PR. It's advertising. It should be a little ahead so that people can check it out and decide whether they're going to buy it. But I was in Montreal at the time, so I wasn't really able to get much out this time. And also, I haven't found the set incredibly intuitive to work with. I don't think it's bad. I think this Art Deco stuff is fantastic. It just isn't quite flowing together as well as Sorcery and the small town stuff did for me. It just hasn't come quite as naturally to me as some of the other themes, especially here where I was trying to get a little bit away from Art Deco and go a little bit further back in the past to slightly more of an Art Nouveau vibe, which I think I've accomplished here with this roof structure that's pretty big. This is based on the Stats Theatre, I think it's called, in Germany. That one is much more filled with filigree, but at some point you have to kind of rein it in for piece count and Planko looks, but I'm happy with how it's come out. You will have noticed that the rotating globe has gone. I just couldn't find a way of tying in this rather ostentatious Art Deco pillar at the front here with the globe, and eventually I was just sort of stood here staring at it, and I saw the window motif over here that we've used throughout this area. Like every building has these. You can see them there behind the chair swing. You can see them up in the windows there, and it's kind of meant to look a little bit like sacred geometry. And I thought, well, why are we not just tying this across here? You know, this is synonymous with the main street of Meanderville. This is a prime, you know, real ostentatious building on that main street. We should really be putting a lot of this together. So the world has been kept. It's over there, just floating on its own right now. We may well use that somewhere else. One place I did think about using it is the entrance plaza of Worlds of Wonder over here, seeing as it is a world. I thought that would work pretty well. There's still a pretty open area here with not much going on in the middle of the gate of the gift shop. I don't think I've actually ever showed this off properly in a video. But yeah, this was like my first attempt at a proper gift shop. The lighting in here needs a little bit of work. It's a little dingy and dark. I think maybe these have turned off. There was one of the updates. Let's just come out. This is a real step out of what we're working on. But one of the updates sort of knocks all of these off and set them all to night only. And I'm still finding stuff now, months afterwards, that needs these added in. So yeah, so some of these are a little copy and paste, these gift shop setups, and I need to come in and turn one of them into a pin wall now. We did the pins in the Pirates store. Let's try and tie those across to other parks as well. But look at this live building, kind of. And then here the building just sort of falls off. But yeah, there we go. That's more what it should look like. Let's get back in and have a look at that. Yeah, it didn't actually change as much as I thought it would, but we maybe need to backlight these images. I mean, we could also turn those to lit screens as well. They're just some nice artwork I found on a DeviantArt. It's all legit. It's not AI. I double checked. Anyway, back to the cinema then, and I'm really happy with how this is all pulled together. Like I say, it still needs a little bit of work, but for the most part, I think it's done. And then the inside, we basically just finished up what I showed you last time. So this lovely Art Deco corridor now is a popular ride. Oh, and there's a movie on at the moment. I'm going to pop in and say hello to everybody. Hi, everyone. So really just sort of filled this in, kept the ceiling fairly plain, although I think maybe I should go in and do a little bit of like sunken lighting up there eventually as well. The back we purposefully kept plain and black because that's how it would be in a cinema. And then I actually saw this Ruble Trillions did an awesome cinema build, kind of similar style to this really, just sort of checking out the Art Deco pieces. This uses one of the returning lights from the Studios pack to give us a sort of dusty, the light pushing through the dust glow onto the screen. And whilst you can't really see it in the dark, I'll just turn my cell phone light on a second, and we actually have like a little Meanderville established 2016 up there, 2026 even, because that is the idea, is that this park opens this year. Whether or not it actually gets finished this year or not is another matter. And then the exit corridor at the moment is fairly plain. I just need some like poster work down here, I think, some poster artwork. I've got a shiny floor, but I don't love it. Maybe once we get lights down here, it won't be so bad, but at the moment it's reflecting a light that doesn't exist, and that's a little bit weird. I'm assuming it's pulling light from sort of behind this wall. Oops. So I might just change this down to a more matte finish. And then over here, I would like some feedback on this. So at the moment, I was just going to have this coming out here into the daytime. We did a little bit of planting here, but otherwise come out here, tidy this doorway up a little bit. But I do have enough space here for a little something. Would a cinema have a gift shop? I feel like in a highly themed park like this, basically everywhere would have a gift shop. So I could put a little thing in here. Maybe it's like a little bookstore, history of Meanderville bookstore or something. But then Meanderville doesn't necessarily have history. It's meant to be a new park. So I'm not too sure what to do here. I think a little store could work. A restroom could work as well. I feel like it should be something rather than just an exit route for the ride. I feel like a premium place like this would use every spot they could get to milk some money out of you. And then we come down into the pagoda and off into the park for the rest of the day. There is a restroom here, so I don't necessarily think we need another one right there. It's probably a little close, but maybe something like baby changing or something. I'm not sure. Comments down below what you think we could do there. And then just to finish off, I'll show you overhead at a better time, so you can see how it looks. So yeah, it's a little bit of a mess up here right now. I've just got to kind of fill this ceiling in and decide what I'm doing here. Like, this could just be more flat plaster. It's never going to be seen anywhere from the park. You know, this is, you know, from ground level, you're just going to see the top of the tower. I think I probably need to come in and replace this with one of these towers. It probably looks a little bit odd that it doesn't match. I just wanted to kind of get it up there for some shape. I think we need to replace it with one of those to tie it all together, but that's very easily done. I can copy and paste that one over, basically. And then neaten all of this up. Edge off here. This is going to be a little tricky. This is basically just the top of the actual cinema itself, you see. So we'll do something there to tie it in. But again, from ground level, it's not very visible, so I think we're going to be okay. And then I'll show you at night, because these beautiful new glass panels light up at night, and I think they look absolutely gorgeous. And overall, I'm pretty happy with this. It's 90% of the way there. I added a bit more iron filigree along the bottom here as well. I think that really helps sort of tie it into the style of the rest of the plaza. But yeah, it's 90% of the way there. A little bit of time off camera, and I'll be able to show you a finished version in the next episode. But at some point, you got to press done. I got to get this out and show it you and get some feedback. So yeah. So overall, Silver Screen Pack is fantastic. The scenery theme is incredible. Hasn't quite come as naturally to me as others, but that's a me thing, not an it thing, I don't think. I think it's well worth picking up. The ride selection is fantastic, even though all I've done placed down the cinema here. I think the rides that come with it are great, and I can't wait to use more of them. I'm excited to see a few people start a Studios Park. Mineral did. Mass Bandit did. I personally don't see myself doing one because I've got too much on with what I'm doing already here, and I would rather just focus all my energy into this at the moment. But it's very exciting to see other people have a go at it. But yeah, let me know how you feel about the pack. It's been out for a couple of days now by the time this goes out, I think. Would love to get some feedback on that as well. Thank you so much for watching. Love you all to bits. Until the next one, be good.